Not every performance truck deserves the hype, and some of them should have never been built in the first place. They look powerful, sounded aggressive, but once you actually drive them, the truth hits differently. Bad decisions, overhyped builds, and wasted money all in one package. And today, we're exposing the ones you should stay far away from. 12. 1991 GMC Cyclone. Sudden hype surrounded this machine when it arrived in 1991. But once the excitement settled, its long-term value started to feel far less convincing. The 1991 GMC Cyclone focused heavily on straight-line performance, sacrificing practicality and everyday usability in the process. While it delivered impressive speed for its time, it didn't offer the balance many buyers expected from a pickup truck. Under the hood sat a turbocharged 4.3-liter V6 engine, producing around 280 horsepower and delivering approximately 350 pound-feet of torque, giving it strong acceleration. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.3 seconds, which made it incredibly quick for a truck in that era. Weighing roughly 3,600 pounds, the Cyclone maintained a relatively light structure, which helped it achieve those quick acceleration figures. However, that focus on speed came at the cost of versatility. From the outside, the design looks clean but understated, lacking the bold presence many performance trucks are known for. It doesn't stand out in a way that reflects its performance capabilities. Inside, the interior feels basic and dated, with minimal attention to comfort or refinement. The cabin lacks the features and quality that would make it appealing for long-term ownership. Instead of offering a well-rounded experience, this machine feels limited in purpose. It performs well in short bursts, but doesn't deliver the kind of flexibility expected from a pickup. The driving experience is quick but narrow in focus. Once the initial speed advantage fades, there isn't much else to keep it engaging. Rather than aging into something more desirable, it struggles to justify itself beyond its performance numbers. Over time, the impression it leaves is not about how fast it once was, but how little it offers outside of that single aspect when compared to more complete machines. 11. 2004 to 2006. Dodge Ram SRT-10. Massive engine power sounds exciting at first, but once the reality sets in, this machine begins to show why it isn't as practical or desirable as it initially appears. The 2004 to 2006 Dodge Ram SRT-10 focused almost entirely on delivering extreme performance, borrowing its power from a sports car platform. While that approach created impressive numbers, it came at the cost of balance and usability. Under the hood sat a huge 8.3-liter V10 engine, producing around 500 horsepower and delivering approximately 525 pound-feet of torque, giving it enormous output. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 4.9 seconds, which was extremely quick for a pickup truck. Weighing roughly 5,150 pounds, the truck carried significant mass, which affected how it handled and responded in everyday driving situations. That weight made it feel less agile and more difficult to control compared to smaller performance vehicles. From the outside, the aggressive styling makes a strong impression, with bold lines and a muscular stance. However, that visual impact doesn't fully translate into a balanced driving experience. Inside, the interior feels average for its class, lacking the refinement expected from a high-performance vehicle. The cabin doesn't match the intensity suggested by the engine. Instead of delivering a well-rounded package, this machine feels focused on a single idea. It excels in straight-line speed, but struggles in other areas that matter for daily use. The driving experience feels powerful but demanding. The engine dominates everything, making it less comfortable for longer drives or practical situations. Rather than aging into something more usable, its limitations become more noticeable over time. Spend enough time with it, and what stands out isn't just the power, but how difficult it is to justify that power when the rest of the experience doesn't fully support it. 10. 2002 to 2004 Ford SVT Lightning. Supercharged performance grabs attention quickly here, but once the excitement fades, this machine begins to reveal why it doesn't hold up as well as expected over time. The 2002 to 2004 Ford SVT Lightning was built to deliver strong acceleration, focusing on straight-line speed rather than overall versatility. While it succeeded in creating a fast pickup, it didn't offer the balance needed for long-term appeal. Under the hood sat a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 engine, producing around 380 horsepower and delivering approximately 450 pound-feet of torque, giving it solid output. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.2 seconds, which made it quick for its class. Weighing roughly 4,700 pounds, the truck carried a noticeable amount of mass, which affected its handling and overall responsiveness. That weight made it feel less agile compared to smaller performance-focused vehicles. From the outside, the design looks sporty and aggressive, with a lowered stance and bold styling cues. However, that appearance doesn't fully reflect a complete performance package. Inside, the interior feels basic and somewhat outdated, lacking the refinement and modern features expected for long-term usability. The cabin doesn't provide the comfort needed for extended driving. Instead of delivering a well-rounded experience, this machine focuses heavily on acceleration. It performs well in short bursts, but struggles to offer versatility in daily use. The driving experience feels quick but limited. Once the initial speed advantage is gone, there isn't much else that stands out. Rather than becoming more appealing with time, its shortcomings become more noticeable. Spend enough time with it, and what becomes clear is how difficult it is to rely on a vehicle that prioritizes speed over everything else without delivering the balance needed for everyday driving. These trucks look powerful, but they're a mistake. 9. 2004 Dodge Ram 1500 Rumble-B. Bright styling might grab attention at first glance, but once you spend time with this machine, its limitations begin to show more clearly than its strengths. The 2004 Dodge Ram 1500 Rumble-B focused heavily on appearance rather than delivering a truly well-rounded performance package. While it looked aggressive and sporty, it didn't bring enough substance to match that image. Weighing around 5,000 pounds, the truck carried a heavy presence that affected its responsiveness. That weight made it feel slower and less agile compared to other performance-focused pickups. Under the hood sat a 5.7-liter V8 engine, producing around 345 horsepower and delivering approximately 375 pound-feet of torque, giving it decent output. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 6.8 seconds, which was respectable but not particularly impressive for its category. What stands out is how the performance doesn't fully match the expectation set by its design. It looks like a serious performance machine, but the driving experience feels more ordinary. From the outside, the bold colors and aggressive styling give it a strong visual identity. However, that visual impact doesn't translate into a more engaging or capable drive. Inside, the interior feels basic and lacks refinement. The materials and layout don't offer the level of comfort or quality expected from something positioned as a special edition. Instead of delivering a complete experience, this truck feels focused on surface-level appeal. It performs adequately, but doesn't stand out in any meaningful way. The driving experience feels average, with power that doesn't create a strong impression once you get used to it. Over time, the excitement fades quickly, leaving behind a vehicle that feels less special than it initially appeared. Look at it closely after extended use, and the biggest takeaway isn't what it offers, but what it fails to deliver compared to expectations. Like the video, subscribe, and tell me your pick in the comments. 8. 1990 Chevrolet 454 SS. Big engine promises define this machine at first glance, yet once it's driven, the reality doesn't quite live up to what that bold idea suggests. The 1990 Chevrolet 454 SS leaned heavily on its large displacement identity. aiming to deliver muscle car-like performance in a pickup format. While it sounded impressive on paper, the overall execution left noticeable gaps in real-world use. Under the hood sat a massive 7.4-liter V8 engine, producing around 230 horsepower and delivering approximately 385 pound-feet of torque, giving it strong low-end pull. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 7.7 seconds, which felt slower than expected given its size and reputation. Weighing roughly 4,600 pounds, the truck carried a heavy and solid feel. That weight worked against it, limiting how effectively it could translate power into real performance. What becomes clear quickly is how the power delivery feels uneven. It pulls strongly at lower speeds, but doesn't maintain that momentum as effectively as expected. From the outside, the design looks clean and purposeful, with a simple but bold presence that reflects its muscle-inspired identity. However, the visual confidence doesn't fully match the driving experience. Inside, the interior feels basic and outdated, lacking refinement and comfort features. The cabin doesn't offer much to support long-term usability or enjoyment. Instead of delivering a complete performance package, this machine feels limited in scope. It offers strength in specific moments but lacks overall balance. The driving experience feels heavy and somewhat restricted. It doesn't respond with the sharpness or energy expected from something built around a big engine. As time passes, the initial appeal begins to fade, revealing more of its limitations. Drive it long enough, and the lasting impression isn't its power, but how difficult it is to fully enjoy that power in a vehicle that doesn't support it well enough. 7. 1994 Ford F-150 Lightning. Early performance ambitions shape this machine, but once it's driven for a while, its limitations become far more noticeable than its strengths. The 1994 Ford F-150 Lightning aimed to bring sporty character into the pickup world, focusing on improved handling and better road performance. While that idea worked to some extent, it didn't fully deliver the level of excitement many expected. Under the hood sat a 5.8-liter V8 engine, producing around 240 horsepower and delivering approximately 340 pound-feet of torque, giving it moderate output. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 7.9 seconds, which felt average rather than impressive. Weighing roughly 4,700 pounds, the truck carried a heavy structure that limited its responsiveness. That weight made it feel slower and less agile compared to more focused performance vehicles. What stands out quickly is how restrained the performance feels. It doesn't respond with the kind of urgency that its sporty positioning might suggest. From the outside, the design looks clean and purposeful, with subtle performance cues that hint at its intent. However, it doesn't stand out strongly compared to standard models. Inside, the interior feels basic and somewhat dated, lacking refinement and comfort features. The cabin doesn't provide the level of quality expected for long-term use. Instead of delivering a complete performance experience, this machine feels limited in scope. It offers small improvements over regular trucks, but doesn't go far enough to truly stand out. The driving experience feels steady but uninspiring. It doesn't provide the level of engagement expected from a performance-focused vehicle. Over time, the initial appeal begins to fade as its shortcomings become more apparent. Spend enough time with it, and what becomes clear is that it sits somewhere in between, not quite a true performance machine and not fully practical either, making it harder to justify. Don't let the badge fool you. These aren't worth it. 6. 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS clones. Replicas can look convincing at a glance, but once the details are examined closely, the reality behind this machine becomes far less appealing than expected. The 1970 Chevrolet El Camino SS clones were built to imitate the original high-performance versions, yet they often lack the engineering and authenticity that made the real models desirable. While they may appear similar, the experience they deliver is noticeably different. Weighing around 3,800 pounds, these trucks carry a typical structure for their platform, but without the correct performance setup, that weight doesn't translate into a satisfying driving feel. Under the hood, most clones are equipped with a standard 5.7-liter V8 engine, producing around 250 horsepower and delivering approximately 350 pound-feet of torque, depending on the build. They can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 7.5 seconds, which feels average rather than exciting. What becomes obvious quickly is how the performance doesn't match the expectation created by the appearance. They may look powerful, but the driving experience often feels ordinary. From the outside, the styling closely resembles the original SS models, with similar paint schemes and visual details. However, those elements don't carry the same meaning without the correct mechanical components. Inside, the interior is usually basic, often lacking the correct trim or features found in genuine models. The cabin can feel inconsistent, depending on how the clone was built. Instead of offering a complete package, these vehicles rely heavily on visual appeal. They perform adequately but fail to deliver the authenticity many buyers expect. The driving experience feels standard without the sharpness or strength associated with true performance versions. Over time, the initial excitement fades as the differences become more noticeable. Look deeper, and the biggest issue isn't how they look, but how far they are from delivering the real experience they try to replicate. 5. 1989. Shelby Dakota. Unexpected collaborations can create curiosity, but once this machine is experienced properly, it becomes clear that it doesn't fully deliver on the promise behind its name. The 1989 Dodge Dakota Shelby attempted to bring performance credibility into a compact pickup by combining a V8 engine with a lighter platform. While that idea sounded appealing, the execution didn't reach the level many enthusiasts expected. Weighing around 3,200 pounds, the truck maintained a relatively light structure for its size, which should have worked in its favor. However, the overall performance still felt limited compared to what was anticipated. Under the hood sat a 5.2-liter V8 engine, producing around 175 horsepower and delivering approximately 270 pound-feet of torque, giving it modest output. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 8.5 seconds, which felt underwhelming for something carrying a performance-focused identity. What stands out quickly is how